As we continue on our California road trip, this time we visit the driest place in North America and the hottest one on Earth. Death Valley National Park is full of insane places, and that's why we came to fully explore this area. In the next 48 hours, we'll drive through the Death Valley National Park, discover the best views, try the flavors of dessert, visit the lowest point below sea level in the US, and even camp in our Jeep in the middle of the desert. Welcome to Death Valley.
When arriving to Death Valley National Park from west or south, the first point which I would say is worth stopping by is the Father Crowley's Overlook, which offers a spectacular view over the Rainbow Canyon, which has a volcanic history and therefore it plays so many colors, as you can see behind me. And another interesting thing is that while you're watching the beautiful layers, you may be lucky to see a fighter jet from US Navy because they are performing their low altitude training flights. And the Rainbow Canyon is also called Star Wars Canyon because it may remind you of a fantastic scenes from action movies.
For words. This is out of this world landscape, and driving through it, it's just like, I don't know, I cannot even express how awesome this feels.
We've been here just for a few hours now, and I have to say, like, both of us are really amazed by this landscape, the roads, and the feeling of being a little bit fragile here, right? Because there's not so many people around you. Sometimes you drive for 30 minutes and you see nobody around. And we've never seen a desert like this before, and we just cannot stop looking all around us. As it is one of the hottest places in the whole world, it is advised by this sign to turn off your AC while climbing the hill which is behind me in order to not overheat your car. So we'll also watch our engine temperature, but I think it's still fine because it's not even 30 degrees Celsius right now. But during the summer it can go up to 50 or even more. So then you have to be really careful. And also it's advised to bring a lot of water in case of any emergency.
Inspired by local flavors and the rich history of the Death Valley area, this toll road restaurant here in Stovepipe Wells is a must-stop when you just drive by, because it's like a small oasis here in the middle of the desert. You can find here a gas station, small shop, even a gift shop, some souvenirs, and a small local inn, as well as the restaurant where we just had our lunch. And I have to say it's definitely worth coming in because the food was really delicious. It was freshly made, the staff was super nice, and all the atmosphere was just in perfect ambience. We loved this so much. I went for a chicken spinach wrap with fries. It was really good and it was fresh and juicy. And Michael had a classic burger, but it didn't disappoint, as well as the freshly made lemonades. I just have to say I'm super happy that we made a stop over here because we feel like we refilled our energy and we can continue exploring the Death Valley National Park. So let's go!
As in many national parks, there's a small entrance fee for each vehicle, and for this national park it is $30 per one vehicle, and you have to pay it through this kiosk machine, so it should be quite straightforward process. And we're buying a pass which is valid for 7 days for $30. Yes, and it tells me actually the validity from and through. Let me just confirm. And we got our entrance ticket. Even though that valley is a desert, there are only few places where sand dunes are formed, and that's why Mesquite flat dunes are so incredibly unique. For the sand dunes to be created, there must be a source of sand, then a wind to move the sand, and a barrier to prevent the sand from being blown further. The conditions at Mesquite flat sand dunes are perfect for the creation of dunes.
These dunes are named after a mesquite tree which grows in this area, and it must twist itself to avoid being buried. Sand dunes also provide habitat for many animals, including rats and rattlesnakes. No official trails exist at Mesquite Dunes, so please watch your steps when exploring and do not disturb the burrows. Also, it is not advised to walk outside around here after 10 a.m. in the summer season, from obvious reasons. By the way, the Mesquite Dunes are known for dramatic shadows at sunrise, and also a great place to observe that valley's famous dark night skies. But we are not camping yet, as we still have a few more hours until the sun will set.
Harmony Borax work is a spot where you can travel a little bit in time and discover that it's not easy to live here. And as evidence, there's a wagon from 19th century which was pulled by over 20 mules, which were transporting the mineral borax outside of Death Valley, probably 150 miles, and it weighed over 30 tons. And honestly, I cannot really imagine how the mules were able to survive here, because the heat waves right now are hitting us sometimes hard, and back then it was probably really tough. As we got this Jeep as a rental, I couldn't hold myself back, and we did some not off-roading, it's rather like unpaved riding or driving, more specifically to the beginning of Eco Canyon, which is like a trail which you can either hike or drive with a proper 4x4. In about 15 miles you find there a old mine with some leftovers from the mining period there, which you can observe, and then drive to the other side of the valley. But as we want to observe the night sky, we want to drive to a little bit more open area than the canyon, obviously.
In any of the visitor centers here in Death Valley National Park, you get a free map, which is very useful over here because there is no cell service at all. I mean, of course, there are few spots where you can get a little bit of the signal, but it's barely minimum, you know, so it would be really hard to get around. I mean, there are signs all over the roads, but still you can get an overall idea of, you know, where you want to go, what you want to do. Also, the roads are very well marked, paved, unpaved road, and only suitable for 4x4 and high clearance and these things. and there are few campgrounds across the Death Valley National Park, and it's strictly prohibited to camp overnight outside of the designated campgrounds, of course, to protect the natural environment and habitat, you know. So always be sure to make a permit to park if you want to stay overnight, as we do, because to be honest, there are like 2 or 3 places where you can sleep overnight in Death Valley National Park, like a hotels or inn or a ranch or whatever you call them. But well, they are really pricey, and compared, like, what do you get for that price? We read tons of reviews. People were not really satisfied with this accommodation, and I mean not satisfied with things like cockroaches in the bed or in, you know, this area. So we were like, oh come on, really? I have a big respect for these things, because, you know, it's not fun and you pay a lot of money for that, and you get a hotel room in the desert, and we were like, okay, let's do something which would be more connected with nature. So I'm super excited, because this is the first time we're gonna sleep in this car. More about this later. But what I wanted to say about the campgrounds, it's very easy to take the permit. You just scan a QR code and you can make it online, or on bigger campgrounds you just, you know, pay with a kiosk, so you can come anytime you want to, basically 24/7. And also check the availabilities, because, you know, in these visitor centers you get information about the campgrounds, because some of the sites can get closed, or also, like, for example, now it's 2024, and a year before there was a huge storm, Hillary, which damaged a lot of places over here, because there was like a record number of rainfall over here, and it caused really bad things over here, which led, you know, to closing some of the unpaved roads, and also a lot of campgrounds are actually closed right now. And also there's different, like, if you come between October to April, or then from May until September, so it's a really big difference, also because of the heat waves which are here during the summer season. So luckily you get all the info you need in this campground, information you get in the visitor centers. So there are all the developed campgrounds, all the, you know, if you need a reservation or not, if it's what's the fee, because some of the campgrounds are actually free of charge, and some of them may range from $15 to $30 per night. And we are staying today in a Furnace Creek campground, which is one of the biggest one in Death Valley National Park. And I'm honestly really surprised how quiet it is over here, because I thought, okay, let's check it out and let's see. But come on, like, there are all the facilities you would need. There are bathrooms, there is drinkable water, you know, all the things, even the fireplace if you bring a wood with you. So it looks super cool, and we saw a few people also having tents outside. So we're gonna set up ourselves a bit and yeah, have some dinner, and then hopefully see the night sky, because Death Valley is an international dark sky park with a gold tier rating. The skies here should be virtually free of light pollution, so I cannot wait to see the stars.
As Natalia mentioned, there's also fee for the campsite and the usage. For us it's $30 per one night, and it's surprisingly the same kiosk as in the morning for the entrance fee, so it's very easy to buy it, and we just pay for campsite. We get the one without electricity, and we have the standard rate, right? We take one day and we're gonna pay it, right? We insert the card. And we get the ticket. And the last step is that you have to clip your receipt for your campground, so everybody knows that it's occupied. And also there's a good tip that once you're thinking about staying in the camp, you first drive around, find the spot without the valid receipt, so you are sure that nobody is there, and then you can buy it for yourself. Quite cool, right? And look at this, the sun just set down, and we'll get ready our improvised bed, and then we'll have something to eat.
Oh, here we go.
Everything's prepared.
Here we go.
Thank you. As disclosure, guys, we are not really prepared for camping. This is all improvised, and we got the air inflatable mattress and this car, and we're just so grateful that we can spend the night like this, because
It's about small moments like this, right?
yeah, sitting on the roof of our Jeep, eating strawberries and cheese sticks.
And camping in freaking Dead Valley.
Oh yeah, in freaking desert.
We woke up just before the sunrise and we are heading to catch it over one of the most beautiful viewpoints you can get in Dead Valley National Park, the Zabriskie viewpoint. These yellow and brown striped hills have been shaped by the powerful force of water, and the Zabriskie Point offers spectacular panoramic view of Dead Valley's unique landscape with its vibrant colors and surreal formations. The sunrise or sunset views are especially breathtaking, making it a must-visit stop when you are in Dead Valley. After this unforgettable experience, we enjoyed our breakfast while soaking up all the wonders of Dead Valley National Park. And as it's time to drive further, we decided to make a tiny detour to experience the Scenic Artist Drive.
Driving this Artist Scenic Loop is such a great experience, I have to say, because the road is very windy, it goes up and down, it's very narrow, and it offers views that you don't usually get. It's just on the side of the mountains with the beautiful spot in the middle where you can stop by, and it's only a one-way road, and for obvious reasons, because it's really tight, and also no RVs are allowed on this road because they wouldn't probably be able to make all the turns because they are so big. Another insane spot in Dead Valley is this immense area of rock salt eroded by wind and rain into jagged spires, called the Devil's Golf Course, as it's so incredibly serrated that only Devil could play golf on such a rough links.
If you are around here, be sure to stand quietly and just listen, because if you really stay calm, you can hear the pop-ups of billions of salt crystals expanding and contracting in the heat. The sculpted salt formations form a rugged terrain that is simultaneously delicate and yet dramatic. Badwater Basin, which is situated at 282 feet below the sea level, is not only the lowest point in the US, but in all of North America. The basin is known for its sprawling sea salts, and now the real question is, how did they get here, right? Geologists believe that in ancient times an inland lake existed where the basin lies today. Since this lake had no access to other bodies of water, salt deposits accumulated, which explains those salt flats. And I also have to mention the Telescope Peak right behind me, which is the desert mountain often visible from hundreds of miles away, as it is the highest mountain in that valley, located only 15 miles from Badwater Basin. And the vertical drop from the top all over to the Badwater Basin is twice the depth of the Grand Canyon, which is, I have to say, super cool. And also there is one thing which I love, that when you park your car from the parking lot, you can see the sign on the rocks above you, which indicates the sea level, and when you look at it you feel so small, and you can really kind of imagine what does it mean that we are located about 80 meters below the sea level.
Today we showed you 10 things to see in that valley. Hope you caught the vibe and we were able to bring you our authentic experience. In case you're excited to see more adventures around the US, feel free to check out other videos and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for virtually traveling with us, and see you in the next one.